So in here is a very, very cool Pro Stock Motorcycle champion, and Chase Van Sant. And we are here at Trick Tools. And isn't it Trick? Phew, what a complex. Excuse me, young lady. I'm here to meet the world famous Chase Van Sant. Do you know where I could find him?
I don't know. I think he might be right there.
Oh, there he is. Oh, does he sit there with that trophy every day?
Every day, all day long.
Oh, what you got there, mate? Is that like an Academy Award or something, Chase?
Yeah, the Wally. What every drag racer dreams of.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So tell me what you won this for.
Yeah, we went out on the West Coast for a little mini Western swing we had in July.
God, these chairs are heavy.
Yeah.
They're fantastic, by the way. Yep.
And we won in Seattle, so it was my first win. We took down Gage, who has won, I think at the time he won 11 races in a row, which was the longest streak in NHRA history. So we made a little bit of history of our own with my first win and in that, so it was cool.
That's pretty mean, Chase. Guys, the guy's having an historic run and you picked that one to do that.
Yeah, I mean, someone had to do it.
It might as well be you.
Yeah, right.
These things, I just saw one of these with Jimmy Van Z at his shop in Oski. So he got his for engineering.
Okay.
For fabrication and engineering.
Yeah, best engineered car award.
Last time I saw you, we were at Mile High Nationals.
Yeah.
Just kind of a random thing. Tony Bockhoven's like, hey, there's a kid from Pella who's rocking the Pro Stock Motorcycle world. What's been going on since then? Something about a championship, a rookie, and things like that. Like, What happened for you?
Oh man, yeah. I guess it was a little over a year since we last saw you, but yeah, a lot of the same, just racing as much as we can, and we ended up getting the Rookie of the Year, which was really cool. That was a big goal that I had for my rookie season at least. So
yep.
We checked that box. I had a little bit of an injury in the meantime and got back from that, and we won a race. So it's been a little eventful.
You glossed over. You had a little bit of an incident.
Yeah.
It wasn't great. What happened and where?
We were in Dallas. It's the third to last race of the year, and it was almost a 20-mile-an-hour crosswind. So our motorcycles are great when they're going in a straight line, but they are a little bit on the heavy side for what they are, and aerodynamically are not the greatest things on the world. So it caught a little bit of a crosswind, and I was in the shutdown trying to keep it off the wall, and kind of when I was hanging off the side, hit a bump, and it just kind of drove my knee into the ground quick. And on camera, it didn't really look like much. It looked like there'd be nothing wrong, but it put about a golf ball size hole in my leathers and knee, and when I got the bike stopped, I could see my kneecap and all sorts of fun stuff. So got that fixed, missed the last two races and obviously that one. So got that fixed and really was feeling kind of like myself around middle of January, early February. And then our season started in Gainesville in March. So ever since then, it's been full steam ahead.
So in the office over there, some super cool old pictures that your dad was showing. Can we go in there for a second?
Yeah.
I don't want to walk away from this thing, because it's super cool. But that office over here is pretty gnarly. Well, your family's worked hard for this amazing building and this amazing business. Look at this. Boy. Now, your dad pointed this out to me.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of stuff going on there around a very important part of his body.
Yeah.
Extremely close are three motors.
3 times what I've got, on my bike, sitting under my chest at least.
Is Pro Stock Motorcycle where you want to stay?
Yeah, I think for me, Pro Stock Motorcycle is kind of the pinnacle of motorcycle drag racing. I think when you look at naturally aspirated racing and the NHRA, it's the only motorcycle racing that you race for a Wally, which is, in drag racing, the most prestigious award you can get. So for me, that's really the only one you can race consistently throughout the year for a Wally and for the championship. And it's just always kind of felt like the Cup Series and NASCAR or whatever for motorcycle drag racing. And to be out there and obviously be televised, it's a pretty cool deal. So I'm gonna stick around here as long as I can, that's for sure.
Is there a respect between Pro Stock drivers and Pro Stock motorcycle riders in that there's the precision involved in the shift points and I think that really Pro Stock guys are like the mad scientists of drag racing, aren't they? Like the surgeons?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like when you look at the naturally aspirated stuff, it's like you don't have something like a power adder to necessarily bail you out, you know. So, like managing the wheel speed and making the run in general requires a lot of finesse for the drivers or the riders in whatever class. But then you start to dive into like what they do and the R&D that they do in the engines and all that stuff, and it's way above my head. I am not near smart enough to know all the stuff that they do, but just, you know, what I know what we do with our program and stuff like that, it's incredible, the science that goes into making these things work. So not that there isn't that in other forms of racing where there are power adders or nitro or anything like that, there always is, but when you're taking an 1855 cc motorcycle and squeezing 400 horsepower out of it, that's every last little drop. So
over your shoulder there is a guy in a Spider-Man set of riding gear. He's a legend of the sport.
Yeah.
Tell me who that is, and you guys are friends with him, yeah?
Yeah, so it's Larry McBride, probably better known as Spider-Man around the world. But yeah, when I was, I'm trying to think, probably 4 weeks old or so, I think my first track I went to is Indy, and my dad was racing. And in the organization they were running at the time, Larry was running Top Fuel Motorcycle. So I can remember, when I was really young, like 2-3 years old, some of my very first memories around the racetrack were watching Larry and watching my dad, and I remember I'd waddle over to Larry's pit and he'd hand me a couple stickers and a t-shirt and stuff like that. So it's cool. They're actually running a 5-race series with the NHRA. So at 5 races, well, actually we weren't at one of them, so 4 races we get to see them, and it's always great catching up with him. He's one of the most interesting, just down-to-earth people that you'll ever meet. And so NHRA just did a Driven, is their series that they call it, so they did a video on him, and you kind of get a taste of Larry's personality in that, because he is one of the most genuine people you'll ever meet. So I would encourage everybody to go check that out, because it goes into detail of all the runs and kind of behind the scenes of who Larry is.
When I was at Mile High, it struck me the volume of spectators. Like when you go through that tunnel,
yeah,
at the archway, and then you're getting set to go and you're getting ready for the burnout, there is thousands and thousands of people pretty well over your backyard fence. Do you ever get a chance to look up at that, or are you just so singularly focused on what you have to do?
Like I do look every once in a while, just because, it's one of those things where it doesn't really bug me. Like having people watch me doesn't bug me too much. And it's kind of one of those things that brings you back to remembering just that you're thankful to be there. I think you can get, or at least I can get, wrapped up in the fact of how good I want to do and how I want to perform, and how badly I want to win this race, and you can kind of let the competitiveness get the better of you. But looking up in the stands every once in a while and seeing a packed grandstands just kind of brings you back to square one, and just reminding you to be thankful of just the opportunity that you even have to be out there and putting on a show.
Now, I say this with respect, there's not mega prize money for you.
No.
And as I said, I'm not being disrespectful. So it means that you need to build your merchandise, means build your profile. So can you go on and do this sort of thing? You're fortunate, you have the backing of your family business, and you come back to a normal job.
Yep.
Can this get to a point one day where you just do this full time for yourself?
I think so. It takes a lot of work, and really in drag racing, the money comes from the sponsors as far as the drivers and riders go. Like my team, for example, my crew chief, that's all he does. This is 100% his day job, and another employee, our truck driver, who also works on the bike, his name's Chris. It's a full-time job for him. So, the money is out there, and you just kind of have to go and find it. So, I think, there are several people out there, the Smiths, Matt and Angie, they do this full-time, just through sponsorship money and winnings and stuff like that. So, I do think we could get to the point to where that's a reality for me. It is just going to take some work and figuring out what I'm going to do here, as well, because I do love my job and I love trick tools. So, it's just going to take a little bit of figuring out, but I think it's possible.
Now, your family has a great connection to Australia,
Mm-hmm.
and in fact, your family owns a business in Australia.
Yeah.
That's got to lend itself to you having to at least have a ride in Pro Stock Motorcycle in Australia, doesn't it? Like, is that on the radar?
Yeah, it's not something I've ever really thought about. I know there have been one or two people that have gone over there and raced Pro Stock. You know, and it's funny, I've never been. I've always wanted to go and wanted to check out some of the tracks there, but you know, if the opportunity came up for me to go ride a bike over there, I think I would have a hard time turning it down.
I would think that we need to make it happen.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot of there's no professional teams running Pro Stock Motorcycle. They're all dedicated family people with family teams and things like that. But I mean, we do ship, you know, motorcycles in containers and things like that. It'd be cool for you to have, you know. So what do you have left this season, mate?
So we go to Reading this week. I leave Thursday, actually. Then we go Charlotte and St. Louis, all back to back to back. And then we have a week off and go to Dallas, and then it's Vegas and Pomona after that. So this is the first race of our countdown. So I think we're sitting 5th in the playoffs. So basically these next 6 races are just going to be kind of applying all the work that we put in the regular season and really trying to climb up some spots.
So what can you do? What's the best result for you? Can you win this thing?
You know, I think so. It's been really tricky. We've had some weight changes thrown at us and some rule changes throughout the year, and so trying to adapt to those has made it tough. But I think in a way it's also kind of leveled the playing field because we're all dealing with some of these weight changes. So you know, the 2 guys that kind of set themselves aside in the countdown are going really fast right now, and one is your last year's champion and the other is the champion from the year before. So
right.
It's not going to be easy, but you know, realistically I think we're a top 3 team, and I think we could be top 3 no problem. So really that's my goal. If it's better than that, great. If not, you know, we're going to go out swinging, that's for sure.
Is it the rush of leaving the line, or is it the rush at the other end that you've shifted perfectly, that the run is technically perfect? What's the bigger rush for you?
For me, I think, you know, drag racing is such a numbers sport. You know, everything we do is measured. So, you know, I think for me, it's going out and doing my job the best that I can and getting the ticket at the end and seeing, you know, validation that I did do my job. So for me, you know, it is a rush. It's a lot of fun, but you know, I do love the performance side of it, and I love putting big numbers up on the scoreboard. So, but there is nothing like going 200 miles an hour. That's the best.
Is there any other thing on your radar, like Bonneville, for example, like land speed stuff that's on your radar?
No, not really. I'm kind of a drag racer through and through. You know, I think the Bonneville stuff is interesting. I would like to go see that too. But for right now, in the moment, I'm all in on Pro Stock Motorcycle.
Yeah, we need to be committed to it. Your family is a huge part of everything you do, Chase, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, obviously without them, I wouldn't be racing and I wouldn't have a job here. So, you know, every little aspect of my life, they're such a huge part of. And, you know, I'm lucky too. My dad gets to come to all the races. He gets to work on the bikes a little bit. And my mom has come to all of them too. So to have a support system there and have family there means the world, you know. Not everybody has that where they get to do something like this with their family. So it's something I definitely don't take for granted, and it's cool that we get to travel, you know, across the country several times a year and see some sights and also compete together. So
there's windmills and tulips in Pella.
Yeah,
a lot of tulips.
Yeah,
you don't exactly tiptoe through the tulips on your weekends. There's a beautiful irony in this, Chase.
Yeah,
you live in one of the most beautiful cities in the world.
Yeah. No, I love it here. This is home for me. You know, and as much as I'm not around necessarily for the Tulip Time Festival and stuff like that, it is definitely a part of who I am and where I grew up. And, you know, more so than just the Dutch culture or whatever, it's just I think the small town Iowa kind of culture of having a tight-knit community and family and stuff like that I do really enjoy. You know, most of my family lives here, or at least in driving distance, you know, to see each other. So there's quite a few of us, my cousins and aunts and uncles, and I really enjoy that we get to see them and not have to plan a trip or anything to do so.